Hello everyone, I am super jazzed to be bringing you this video about great games for your classroom and your living room. I have done this video before, but there were 10 different games before. If you want to check those out, they're up here. If you're new to the channel, I am so excited to have you here. My name is Michael Matera and I'm an educator, and I'm all about finding the joy in the journey of our classrooms, the journey of our lives. One of my hobbies is playing board games, and I want to make sure you guys do the same with your friends, your family, and your students. So I have selected all new games for you guys this year to check out, and if this sounds like something you want to do, then I say let's stick around. Little disclaimer though, this video is going to be a little longer than my usual ones. I usually try to make a video anywhere between like 5 and 10 minutes. This one's going to go a little longer because I want to give some of the examples of the games, so I hope you stick around. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Before we dive into the first game suggestion for you, I just want to point out that down below there are links to all these games. Those are affiliate links. If you would be so kind to maybe click through those and pick them up. That's for those of you that don't have that local friendly game store. If you happen to live in an area that has that local friendly game store, pick those up there because those guys are amazing. So check them out if you have them. If you don't, you could help my channel out a little bit by buying off those affiliate links. So without further ado, let's break down these games that are great for the family room as well as the classrooms. In no particular order, but the first one I'm going to talk about to you guys is Tiny Towns here. This game is one that I picked up this year and I've absolutely loved. It plays quick. Everyone I teach it to really just loves it, and it's one of those games that they instantly say like, let's play it again. People that I've taught it to have gone out and picked up the game themselves. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes. It is 1 to 6 players. It's by AEG. It's a great game. It's a little Tetris-y with a little bit of a theme, plenty of replayability with sort of the card setups that are out there, but it is so fun. You have this little board and you're putting these resources down in these squares, and when you get the right pattern to build these buildings that are on these cards out in front of us, if you have that right pattern, so if it says stone, brick to build like a schoolhouse or whatever, if you put it in that pattern with that resource, then you get to pick up these little wood buildings that look like a schoolhouse or a barn or a tavern or whatever. Take the resources and put that down on your board, but as you put these buildings down, there's less spots to put the resources, and it gets a little hard to put these Tetris pieces in. Each of the buildings score a different way, and like I said, there are different cards for different buildings, so every time you play, it'll be a different combination. So fun. My 8-year-old daughter loved it, as well as her grandparents. Lots of laughs, super fun, super light, super quick. All right, the next game that I'm going to talk to you about is Wavelength. It came out this week and it's already hit the table with friends and family for me, and it has been a blast. It says it plays 2 to 16 players or something. The higher end player count, it doesn't really matter. You're just having more people on a team, and it is a good time, and it's interesting. So if you have 20 people in your classroom, pick it up, 25 in your classroom, it still would be fun to play at a recess. Doesn't matter how long you play. It could carry over from day to day. It is just a blast. What's happening here is there's this little contraption in the game in which I get to, if I was the psychic, I get to sort of spin this dial, and it tells me where this range is for scoring points. And so on something that goes from here to here, right, it's telling me right here is the zone that scores for me. And I know that. I then cover it up with this little thing that slides over so no one else can see it anymore. And then there's this dial that other people can see that can set where they think the score zone is. Now, how are they going to guess what the score zone is? That's my job as the psychic. What happens is each round there's a card that has a range of something. It could say hot and cold. It could say attractive, unattractive. It could say, sounds beautiful, sounds ugly, right? Who knows? There's a majillion cards where there's these 2 words, right? And they're sort of saying this side of the dial is hot, this over here is super cold. Now I know the correct range is right here. How do I get you to set that dial? Maybe I say coffee because it's definitely on the warm side, but it's not all the way down to the sun, so I need you to guess here. But what happens is you guys all of a sudden erupt in discussions about, well, what would be the hottest thing? What would be the coldest thing? Where would coffee lie in that hot, cold range? It is so fun to hear you guys debate and discuss and discuss and discuss and discuss. They have a catch-up mechanism for the team that's kind of losing. They can get multiple turns in a row. Even when it's not your turn, you're still involved, because once the team that sets the dial and says, we think it's right here, that's where we think coffee is, the other team then decides if they think the 4-point scoring zone is to the left or to the right of where you guys guessed, and they can still score a point when it's not their turn. It is just hilarious, interesting, super fun. You guys could make your own cards that work with the content you're discussing. So much fun. Definitely pick this one up as well. Building on that sort of wordplay, I'm gonna show you this other game. This one, it's a little box called Medium. Medium is a fun light game. You don't even really need to pick it up. There are some game-specific things here why you might want to pick this up yourself, but the game's really simple. You and other players are trying to guess the exact middle point, but not between numbers, but between two words. So, like, for example, here on the back of the box, the words were airport and owl, right? So what's the exact middle point between airport and owl? Well, that's really hard, right? But we're gonna say 3, 2, 1, and then you're gonna say a word, I'm gonna say a word, and if it's the right word, we're gonna get some points. And if it's not the right word, we then have to try to find the middle point between the two words we did say. So if I say fly, and if you say, like, I don't even know what you'd say, you get the idea. We gotta try to, like, get that exact middle point. Again, lots of laughs, quick play time, and something you could do even if you make up your own cards too. It's so fun to try to think what the middle point is between two words. Super fun. Check it out. The next game I'm going to suggest to you, kind of again going on that sort of wordplay, Englishy sort of thing. This one's an older game, but if you can find it, it's called Ex Libris. Again, it's a little older. I found it on Amazon on one of the, like, buy from other people. There was a distributor selling it. Ex Libris, a great game. I think it was made in the 90s, but still so fun. What this game does is it's got 100, I think, maybe 150 cards in here. Each card has a synopsis of a famous work, a famous author's work. And on one side, it describes a little bit about the book, the characters, what happens, just a short little read. You read that aloud to all the players. And then you flip a coin, and the coin decides if we're going to be playing with the first sentence of the book or the last sentence of the book. And on the other side of the card has the first sentence from the book and has the last sentence from the book. Now everyone, after getting that brief synopsis, has to write a make-believe last sentence or first sentence, hand them in to sort of that judge player. They sort of mix them all up. The judge also wrote down the real one, and then the judge reads all of the options to all of you. And it's one of these games where you're trying to get people to bet that yours is the winning one, that yours is the right one. And if you can correctly guess the right one, you get so many points. And if you get people to guess yours, it is so fun. I think it's a great time, lots of laughs. You don't need to know anything about the book. What you have to do is kind of internalize that style that you hear given in the sort of reading. And it is so fun. I am not that well versed in literature and all these various authors, but anybody can play it, even your students, and it is just a hoot hearing some of those lines that people come up with and convince others to do it and, like, vote for that one. Super blast. All right, the next one I'm gonna go with is a super fun one. Stephanie Crawford taught me about this one. It's called Just One. Just One is a great game in which you're trying to get people to guess a particular word. So if I know the word is, I don't know, cheese, how do I get you to guess cheese? Everyone on your team, this is a cooperative game. We're all working together. So everyone on their little placard writes one word down to get you to understand that the main word, the key word is cheese. So maybe I write mouse down. Maybe somebody else writes a type of cheese like cheddar down. Maybe somebody else writes like a brand of cheese like Kraft or Sargento, right? Maybe somebody else writes France, right? But if any of us write the same word, so let's say I write mouse and you write mouse, then we erase those from our placards while the guesser has their eyes closed. And then once we've removed all the duplicates, the guesser just looks at all these one words that still remain and tries to piece together what the main word would be. It is so fun. It's a blast to work cooperatively in this game. It's the only one that I'm going to suggest here that you're working together, all of you. It's kind of all of us versus the game. A super hoot. Everyone I've taught that one to. It was easy to understand. You could just bust it out and play right away. All right, we've already done 5 game suggestions. I don't know if you're still with me. If you are, why don't you hit that thumbs up button and also maybe post a comment down below. I would love to hear from you about these games or any other game suggestions you have, or just a hello and happy holidays would be great. So let's move on. The next one I have to show you is Team 3. I've been loving this game. If you go and look for Team 3, it comes in 2 different colors, green and pink. The only difference is there are 50 puzzles in each game. So if you pick up both sets, you have 100. If you want to pick up one, there's no difference between the two other than the fact that it has 50 puzzles, 50 unique puzzles in each. Team 3, super simple to explain. I play it with my students. It's super quick. It takes 3 minutes to play. I'm going to show you the side of the box here. One, it's played with 3-player teams. One player cannot speak. One player can only they can see, but they can talk, but they can't touch anything. Then another player cannot see anything. So what's happening? What are you doing? There are these little cards that show you what you're trying to build with these various like Tetris-y pieces and like a certain shape and pattern. And one of your players cannot see, they're blindfolded, and there are all these pieces in front of them, but they can't see them, but they can touch them. Then another player is one that sees the end result. They're like, this is what we're trying to build, but they can't speak. So they're just sort of miming, but the other guy can't see. So then there's this third guy who can see the person sort of miming the things, but they're not allowed to touch or do anything with the pieces. So they can't like pick the hand up of the blind player and sort of say like, you know, grab this piece or hand them this piece. So they just have to use their words and explain, like, you know, and it's so hilarious to hear people say like, you know, pick up the green one, but the blind player's like, I can't see, I don't know which one's the green one. And then they finally grab the green one and then they like lay it down, and then the like mute player is like kind of like trying to like get the attention of the person because they're putting it the wrong way, and then it's this slow communication, but they only have 3 minutes to build it. It is so fun to rotate through your students and let different kids try it. It's a great recess game. It's a great team building game. It's good if you have a little extra time, throw it in the back of your class. Cheap and fun and easy, so pick it up. Super simple, kids will love it. 50 different puzzles. I absolutely love Team 3. In fact, some of you that I have a workshop coming up with, I'm going to be bringing a bunch of sets of Team 3 and we're going to be doing it together. So look out. I'm going to Illinois with it. I'm going to go to Delaware with it. So this is coming your way. St. Louis, this is coming your way too. So we're going to have some good times with Team 3. All right, the next comes from one of my favorite categories of games this year, and that is roll and writes. Roll and writes are kind of upgraded Yahtzees. It's where you roll dice and then like because of the dice you sort of check things off on a particular sheet. In this case it's called a flip and write because you're not rolling dice, you have these decks of cards that you're flipping and writing down this information. So you ready for this one? Welcome to is the one that I absolutely love. I have a bunch of roll and writes back here, actually. Right here is my roll and write section. There are so many great ones. If you want to talk to me about roll and writes, I'll talk your ear off. But to sum this one up, you're sort of building a 1950s town, and you're rolling, and you're going to have to kind of place these houses down. The addresses have to sort of go up. There are little like features that you want to add to these houses, but it's all based on the rolls. We all have the same information, But at the end, because of the choices you make and the choices I make, it's different, which is so cool. That we all play off the same cards. So this is one of those games that you could literally play with like 1,000 people as long as they can all see the cards. So I've done this one on like rainy days in school and say, anybody want to come to my classroom, we'll play welcome to. And you can have 50 kids in the room, because if they can see the cards, you just use your projector and boom. Like now they all could be like building their little town using the same information, but at the end, because of their choices and your choices, they're going to score differently. So cool. All right, the last game in this series that is not necessarily the worst game or anything. It's just something's got to be the last one to talk about. This one is called Crosstalk. Crosstalk is so wildly different than some of the suggestions I've made this year, like Wavelength and these other ones, and so different than some of the ones that you're used to playing, like code names or that kind of thing from my last year's suggestion. Crosstalk is two teams trying to get the right code word, right? So, but in this one, let's say I was the person trying to give the clue. There would be another person trying to give the clue. We both have the same word. So we know we're trying to get you to say, I don't know, it doesn't matter, like football. Like that's the word we're trying to get you to understand. Then how the setup works is both teams get to write a private clue to their team. So I would slide to my teammates, I'd write down this thing, slide it to them, one clue. So maybe I put sports. I don't know what your team's clue is, but we're both trying to get our teams to say football. Then one of us has to give what's called a public clue, and I write it down on this public board that everyone can see. And after I write down the public clue, it's actually the other team's turn to guess. So I have to be very careful because they're also trying to guess football. I don't know what they put down as the private clue, so you're almost trying to make vague clues that link to your private clue that you gave your team so that they know what it is, but you don't want to help the other team. Oh, it's such a mind job, and it's so fun to sort of flip that kind of style game where you're almost trying to give not the best clue, but ones that make sense, because we're all going to be looking at that communal board. So good for students to sort of think about things a little differently. I hope that you guys pick up Crosstalk, Tiny Towns, Wavelength, Welcome to Team 3, Medium, X Libris, and Just One. Really, truly, I kind of hope you pick them all up because it would be so fun to come over to your house and play these games. As always, I hope you check out some of the other videos we have here. Check out the older video of this suggesting 10 different games for you guys to pick up for your classroom or living room. And if you do, I'd love to hear you down below. I'd love to hear about your game closet in general. I'd love to just hear from you. So thank you so much for being part of this YouTube channel this year. And I look forward to 2020 with you guys and playing hopefully some of these games with you as well. So take care. That's all I got for you now. I hope you have a good holidays.